How is it going, everybody? And welcome to episode 4 of the Brock at the Buzzer podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Brock Kowalski. In today's episode, we're going to talk about last night's game between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Philadelphia 76ers. A lot of Buffalo Bills news in this episode regarding wide receiver Cole Beasley and free agent to be Rob Gronkowski. And to round out the episode, we're going to talk about some Formula One news as well. Before we get started on the show, I would like to tell you guys that all of my social media links are in a Linktree link in the description below. And finally, like the video, share the video, and subscribe. So let's get started. The Sixers' talent overwhelms the Cavs. Friday night in Philadelphia, a marquee matchup took place in Wells Fargo Center as the Cavs got off to a great start, leading after the first quarter 41-30, but the Sixers' talent overcame that deficit, led by Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, and Joel Embiid, beating the Cavs 125-119. For the Philadelphia 76ers, Tyrese Maxey led all scorers with 33 points and 5 assists. James Harden added 23 points and 11 assists. Joel Embiid, who was held in check for the majority of the evening, he had 22 points and 9 rebounds. George Niang hit multiple big three-point shots, had 17 points off the Sixer bench. Tobias Harris was pretty solid in the first half, then cooled off. He had 15 points and 4 rebounds, and Shake Milton off the Sixer bench had 11 points and 4 rebounds. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, Darius Garland had a phenomenal game last night. I believe he played 46 minutes, I believe. He had 26 points and 19 assists, a career high for him. Isaac Okoro had a season high in points with 22 and 3 rebounds. Jared Allen had another very solid game for the Cavs. He had 20 points and 7 rebounds. Jetty Osman off the Cavs bench had another solid game. He had 20 points. And Kevin Love posted a double-double off the Cavs bench with 11 points and 10 rebounds. Their next game is tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN from Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse as the Cavaliers take on the Toronto Raptors. And no, I'm not going to say what went wrong and so on and so forth. Just like I said in the top of this portion of the episode, is the Sixers' talent overwhelmed the Cavs last night. And with that said, I'm not worried about this Cavs team yet. The Cavs played Cavs basketball last night for the first time in quite some time, but they just, again, got overwhelmed by the Philadelphia 76ers, in particular Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, and Joel Embiid. And now on to some Bills news, as we're going to talk about Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley has been granted the opportunity to seek a trade. Friday, Bills GM Brandon Beane made public that wide receiver Cole Beasley could seek a trade as the new league year begins on March 18th, but also said he would be, quote, open, end quote, to bringing him back. And here is my opinion on this whole situation. With Beasley getting older, production falling, and a cap hit worth $7.6 million, I believe Cole Beasley will have a new home for the 2022 NFL season. The second portion of the Bills news in this show is, could the Bills seriously land Rob Gronkowski? There have been multiple reports that both the Western New York native Rob Gronkowski and the Buffalo Bills have, quote, mutual interests. And here is my opinion on the matter. If Gronk wants to continue to chase Super Bowls or Super Bowl rings, and the money works for both Gronkowski and the Bills, I believe he will land in Buffalo. And your next question might be, will it work? And the answer to that is emphatically yes. Why? Instead of having 3 wide receivers and an offensive set like the Bills have had over the last several years, they would have 2 tight ends instead, which would mean Dawson Knox, an emerging star tight end in the NFL, with the greatest tight end of all time in Gronkowski. That's just my opinion. And with Josh Allen throwing them the football, that's pretty scary if you ask me. And for the final topic of today's episode, Haas F1 team dumps Mazepin. Today, Saturday, the Haas F1 team announced that they are terminating driver Nikita Mazepin and sponsor Orikeli due to the fact they both have Russian connections. In fact, your Corelli, apologize for the slow pronunciation there, is owned by Mazepin's father. That is according to multiple reports. And this is clearly a response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which is still ongoing. And in a statement, Haas said, and I quote, "The team is shocked and saddened by the invasion and wishes for a swift, peaceful end to the conflict," end quote. That is in a statement that came out earlier this morning. Also, all reports point to Haas reserve driver Petro Fittipaldi to take Mazepin's seat at the team. In my opinion, is this to conclude the episode. This should be no surprise to anyone. And to top it all off, Mazepin did not perform well last season and created many conflicts on the track last year. And to be honest with you, this was the straw that broke the camel's back. I'm not expecting Nikita Mazepin to have a ride in Formula One anytime soon. In fact, Formula One as a whole will not race in Russia this year after the sport terminated their relationship with the promoter who promotes the Russian Grand Prix. Again, this is no surprise as the Russian invasion of Ukraine continues. And that'll do it for today's episode. Once again, I'm your host, Brock Kowalski. And once again, if you're not watching anything of note tomorrow, I would highly suggest to tune in to tomorrow's NBA action between the Toronto Raptors, who are a very solid, or who've had a very solid season, but could be without Fred VanVleet and obviously OG Anunoby, who is out for an extended period of time due to a finger injury. But that also means you have 2 of the top 4 picks in this, which looks to be stacked 2021 NBA rookie class, a clash between Scotty Barnes and Evan Mobley. You can watch the game tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. with that said, guys, I'll see you on the next episode of the Brock at the Buzzer podcast. Have a great day, everyone.